The long-standing puzzle surrounding the end of Ricky Nelson's life has finally been unraveled, and the reality is deeply unsettling. Born Eric Hilliard Nelson on May 8, 1940, in Teaneck, New Jersey, Ricky was essentially a child of the spotlight. As the son of Ozzie and Harriet Nelson, two of the era's most famous performers, his path into the industry was practically inevitable. He grew up in the public eye, starring with his family in the iconic series The Adventures of Ozzie and Harriet, which transitioned from radio to television to become a quintessential piece of 1950s Americana. While millions watched him mature on screen, his undeniable charm and natural looks turned him into a national treasure. However, Ricky wasn't content being just a sitcom star. He broke the mold of the child actor by launching an incredibly successful music career at the dawn of the rock and roll era. Despite the pushback rock received from the older generation, Ricky became one of its most credible pioneers. His 1957 debut single, a cover of Fats Domino's I'm Walking, became an instant sensation, launching his dual life as both a television darling and a genuine teen idol. Throughout the late 50s and early 60s, Nelson dominated the airwaves with a string of massive hits, including Hello Mary Lou, Travelin' Man, and Lonesome Town. His melodic, smooth vocal style made the rebellious sound of rock and roll more palatable for the general public, earning him a massive following. He was one of the very first artists to use national television as a platform for music, a move that paved the way for the British invasion years later. By the time he was 21, he was a global superstar with millions of records sold. Yet, as the 1960s progressed and musical trends shifted, he found himself at a crossroads. Refusing to simply fade away or chase superficial fads, he evolved into a country rock pioneer with the formation of the Stone Canyon Band. This era culminated in his 1972 hit Garden Party. Born from a moment of rejection at a Madison Square Garden revival show where fans booed his new material, the song became a defiant manifesto for artistic freedom. It sent a clear message to the world. You have to satisfy yourself before you can worry about satisfying others. Beyond the recording studio, Ricky built an impressive legacy in Hollywood. His film career began with family comedies, but it reached a peak in 1959 when he starred in Howard Hawks' legendary western, Rio Bravo. Working alongside giants like John Wayne and Dean Martin, Nelson's magnetism was credited with drawing in younger audiences and turning the film into a massive box office hit. He continued to diversify his roles, appearing in comedies like The Wackiest Ship in the Army and dramatic guest spots on shows like General Electric Theater. He even took on the role of the outlaw Jesse James and made appearances in hit series like The Streets of San Francisco and The Love Boat. Whether he was playing a cowboy or a romantic lead in the family project Love and Kisses, Ricky proved he had the range to sustain a career across multiple decades and platforms. His enduring appeal kept him working well into the 1980s, proving that his charisma was timeless. However, behind the scenes, Ricky's personal life was often a tug-of-war between his own desires and the expectations of his family. As a teen idol, he was constantly pursued by fans and media, but his mother, Harriet, kept a tight grip on his social circle. She was deeply concerned with maintaining the family's wholesome image and often disapproved of the women Ricky dated, fearing that a scandalous romance might derail his career. This tension defined much of his early adulthood until he met Chris Harmon. Their 1963 wedding was treated as a royal event in Hollywood, joining two famous families. They had 4 children together, including Tracy, who became a successful actress, and twins Gunnar and Matthew, who would eventually top the charts in the 90s with their band, Nelson. Despite the perfect image, the marriage began to crumble under the weight of Ricky's constant touring and the pressures of raising a family in the spotlight. Rumors of infidelity and emotional distance led to a bitter, public legal battle, ending in divorce in 1982. The heartbreak of this collapse heavily influenced the more somber, reflective music of his later years. The mystery that has haunted fans for decades involves the tragic events of December 31, 1985. For years, people wondered if the plane crash that claimed his life was truly an accident, or if there was a darker story hidden in the wreckage. On that New Year's Eve, Ricky and his band were flying to a gig in Dallas when their DC-3 went down in flames near DeKalb, Texas. While the pilots survived, Ricky, his fiancée Helen Blair, and his bandmates were lost. In the aftermath, rumors ran wild. Some tabloids whispered about drug use on board, a narrative that unfairly tarnished his reputation despite toxicology reports showing he was completely clean. Others speculated about sabotage. It took years of dedicated work by forensic analysts and aviation historians to finally pinpoint the truth, and it is a story of gross negligence. Investigators discovered that the World War II-era aircraft had been a flying hazard. The cabin's heater had a history of malfunctioning, a fact that had been ignored by the plane's operators. Instead of proper repairs, the system had been jury-rigged with makeshift fixes that violated safety standards. During that final flight, the heater sparked a fire beneath the floorboards that quickly filled the cabin with lethal smoke. There were no fire extinguishers available and no proper insulation to slow the spread. The passengers likely lost consciousness from the fumes before the plane even hit the ground. The most tragic part of the revelation is that those responsible knew the plane was dangerous and let it fly anyway. Ricky Nelson wasn't a victim of fate or a lifestyle of excess. He was a victim of human error and systemic failure. While his music remains a celebrated part of American culture, the truth of his passing stands as a painful reminder of a life cut short by entirely preventable circumstances. Thanks for watching our look into the life and mystery of the legendary Ricky Nelson. If you found this deep dive interesting, please give us a like and share your favorite Ricky song in the comments below. We love hearing from you. Also, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you don't miss our upcoming stories on the greatest icons of entertainment. We'll see you in the next video.